Hello and welcome, I'm ELD and this is Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Barra on Fun Police versus Ryan on a blue-black Delver list. We'll see if this is Death Shadow or just some type of blue-black concoction. I am a fan of Death Shadow in Legacy. Something that ported over very well. It's funny, I was playing Death Shadow before Deathrite Shaman and Gataxian Probe got banned. They felt like the two most important cards in the deck, and the deck had just ended up being way better after. One of those weird ways that metagame shift has a hellaciously difficult matchup for Sneak Attack, for Storm. Like, there's so many combo decks that cannot handle the onslaught of truly aggressive creatures also having discard spells, and you have to deal with the stack as well. So you're fighting on every single axis: the battlefield, the stack, your hand. They're bringing stuff back from their graveyard. It's incredibly potent. I'm kind of psyching myself up. Hopefully that's actually what we're going to see on camera. We got a turn one Delver. Inconclusive so far. Ancient Tomb into Chalice. And we see a Daze. Simian Spirit Guide pays for it. And that Chalice is in there. Three damage coming in. White for a Stoneforge Mystic. And Barra bleeding out life, looking to recoup that rather quickly with the Batterskull. 3 more damage. I believe Barra down to 10. Stoneforge going to go ahead and put in a Batterskull. Ancient Tomb still untapped. Second land here for Ryan. He did have to pick one up. And any type of removal here on this Germ could just be a wrap. Magus of the Moon, largely irrelevant here. And I believe we've got a Drown in the Lock, taking out the Germ token. Stoneforge gets in there. Magus of the Moon might end up being a problem. If Barra doesn't have another land, he's not going to be able to suit up. Oh, but he does have the land. He gets to suit up. Stoneforge. And now send in, gaining 5. Brainstorm being fired into that Chalice, as was that Thoughtseize previously. Gurmag Angler. He is not really big enough to deal with this Batterskull. Gurmag eating. A Magus of the Moon, another one drops. And Barra just gaining tons and tons of life off of this Stoneforge Mystic. Ryan so close to closing this one out. Stomp. Delver has been stomped. And now Bonecrusher Giant comes back from his adventure. And that's going to do it. Drown in the Lock. A timely answer to the Germ. but not to the Batterskull itself. That is actually a slight issue with black-blue. As far as colors, they have a little bit of a harder time dealing with the artifacts. The white splashes and green splashes, even red splashes, all can handle artifacts so much more effectively than the black-blue combinations. But it was good to see that Chalice didn't completely stop all of his answers, having that 2-mana Drown on the lock, a very valid option. Oh, based off of these hands getting involved, I am relatively sure this is actually our team trio event. We had 60 people here for our first ever ELD Team Trio Open. That was Pioneer, Modern, and Legacy. I believe this would be the first or final round of that Swiss, depending on what order I started doing the commentary in. Catching up on a tremendous backlog. We actually were not recording throughout the holiday season. Next year I will figure out how to make that happen. Might just be recording a ton of episodes prior to the holiday rush, or maybe just be a little less off time for me. Either way, want to keep the channel with daily updates, and I'll do what I need to make that happen. Goal for 2020 is to put out at least a video a day, and along the way improve the quality where I can. Ancient Tomb Chrome Mox, imprinting a Bone Crusher Giant, and it looks like he's going for the Chalice this time, able to pay for days a little less sneakily. A couple of Prismatic Vistas here for Ryan, and not the best start for Delver. Usually you want to have some type of threat on board right away, and now we've got a Blood Moon. He will have perfect mana. He'll be able to fetch both a... Well, he's grabbing 2 islands. He could have grabbed a island and a swamp if he so wished. And he's got the swamp already. Looks like a back to basics. So, hating on each other's lands. I don't know how effective back to basics is going to be frank. I mean, doesn't do too much. True Name Nemesis does have a lot of cards that have taken him off of his pedestal, printed in the last year. Questing Beast, one of the big ones. Of course, Plague Engineer just straight up eliminates him and all of his kind. And I believe the Bone Crusher Giant can set up some really bad situations as well. I don't think damage can be prevented. Yeah, damage can't be prevented this turn. So, if he blocks... I mean, Bara can't block the True Name, but if that True Name ever tries to stay home, a Stomp could actually be a real problem, as it would allow a 2-for-1, but it would clear him out of the way. Ryan sitting on a Force of Will. Race is on. Thought Scour into a Gurmag Angler. Gurmag is a big boy, especially with this board state. Chalice at 1. Coming back. Brazen Borrower had removed it temporarily. Coming in for 8 damage. This is a pretty bad spot. Oh, and I think that is likely going to do so. Bara actually waiting for the block before firing off that Stomp. I think the proper play there is to do it before blocks. We've got a Batter Skull, and that is going to get Force of Willed. So really one-sided games back and forth. Blue-Black Delver didn't have the strongest start, but that True Name and Gurmag Angler proved to be way too much for Bera's draw there. Just a couple of 2-2 bodies. Magus of the Moon really not capable of standing up to that quality of threats. And Brazen Borrower did get rid of the Chalice, albeit temporarily. That's a card that was very interesting when it got spoiled. Just really difficult to gauge how good it was going to be. Card does quite a lot of work. Removing problem permanents, and then is also a body, all with flash. Reminiscent of Vendilion Click, a card that hasn't really been seeing much play as of late. Didn't really expect them to print a better 3-mana fairy, but they very well may have. Brazen Borrower able to answer pretty much any permanent that your opponent's going to give you a hard time with. Buy you the time to potentially engage your game plan, get your counters online, bounce it to their hand, make them discard it. And at this point, I gotta say, pretty sure it's not a Death Shadow build. We have not seen any shock lands or anything that would make me think that from this point. And Bera leading out a couple of mulligans here. Chrome Mox imprinting Simian Spirit Guide, and we've got a turn 1 Magus of the Moon. Does Ryan have the Force? If not, does he have the basics? Oh, he's got the basic into a turn 1 Delver. Oh, it looks like he had the Force and he didn't stop it. Stomp. Takes out the Delver. Passing the turn. Casting Goblin Rabblemaster. That sees a Force pitching Brainstorm. Magus swinging, and now a Brainstorm during the end step. Oh, sorry, a Thought Scour during the end step. Very interesting. Magus sends. And now that Bone Crusher Giant comes off of his adventure. Brazen Borrower freeing up the mana base during the end step. Another Thought Scour. And Gurmag Angler. Will his heft be enough to carry the day here? He's a 5/5. And a world full of 2/2s, and now this 4/3 with the Bone Crusher Giant. City of Traders being played. Magus of the Moon coming back down. Double blocking would kill everything in sight. It's a 4/3 and a 2/2. Of course, a dangerous thing to do with cards like Brazen Borrower potentially in Ryan's hand. Double blocking leaves you super vulnerable for removal. Goblin Rabblemaster. A Thought Scour. Clears out one of those basic lands, finds them the Force of Will, and he does force it. Brabblemaster would eventually take over this game. Delver of Secrets. What a match this has been. Sword of Fire and Ice Sticks. This is a real dangerous spot. It can go on top of this Bone Crusher Giant and he will trade. And then after that, Magus of the Moon will be like Jason Voorhees at a birthday party, running around completely untouchable. It's happening. Gurmag Angler has been slain. Magus of the Moon has this sword and he's ready to use it. Things are going to get graphic. Pro red, pro blue. The only two colors in Ryan's deck thanks to the Magus. He has no access to black right now. Four damage. Shooting down a Delver. Drawing a card. Another Magus. And this represents lethal here. Thalia. Not just going to throw away the Magus. It was going to die if he swang, so he's just keeping it back. Keeping it just one more turn. And Sword of Fire and Ice wraps that game up, along with Magus of the Moon, shutting Ryan off of a otherwise rock-solid mana base. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.